Wow, we are super excited to have Coach Joey Greany with us today on Steal from the Best. Joey, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. So, Joey, you have over 2 decades of experience. Can you take us through the pivotal moments that kind of shaped your career in strength and conditioning, and kind of how you got to this role? Like, where did it all begin, and take us on that big journey to get to where you are now.
Yeah, so I grew up in upstate New York. I was always involved in sports, athletics growing up. I played multiple sports. I was involved in the martial arts at a young age, which thinking back, former that was my formal strength and conditioning back then, so to speak. So I was always involved in athletics. And then when I went up to high school, I played high school baseball, got into college, played college baseball, competed at a pretty high level in some collegiate leagues in the summer. I went to school, studied exercise science. I was always interested in fitness, in different ways to improve performance, to try to get that extra step on the competition. So I studied exercise science in school, and then in 2008, I applied for a job with the Kansas City Royals, and I started in their minor league system, and I spent 9 years in the minor leagues, different affiliates, working with some amazing coaches, amazing people, and incredible players with the in the minor league system. And then in 2017, made a transition from the minor leagues to the major leagues with the Tampa Bay Rays. And been there ever since. This is my seventh season.
Wow, this is like the perfect segue into a question we have all lined up here. I want to talk about the advancements in like sports science and technology. How has the approach to strength and conditioning changed over the last, few years or decades? You've obviously got to see it. And then what about the future of strength training? Are there any new technologies or tools?
Yeah, I mean it's been an incredible experience. Come breaking in 2008 and seeing everything develop from the sports science side and the technology side of things. It actually makes our job a lot easier when we can get this objective information to present to the athlete, to the other coaches, to front office personnel on how the players are performing, on how they're improving or not improving in some cases. Um, and I think it's only going to get better with time. The technology is going to get better, different ways of tracking either sprint speed or strength levels or power levels in the weight room. It's been pretty incredible. It brings all of our departments together: sports science, nutrition, our biomechanists, strength and conditioning, athletic training. It blends all of our departments. We're able to see all this objective information. But I think it's also important to remember when you're coaching athletes that years of experience and a good set of eyes goes a long way, including the objective information that you get.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
do you
sort of
see that?
debunking a theory. Sorry, bro. Sort of debunking a theory of mine, which is that we've kind of peaked at peak athleticism almost. If you look back at any professional sport 20 years ago, they've all completely changed. The speed and the strength is so much faster and stronger than if you watch, 80s hockey compared to today and how much faster they are. Baseball, I mean, everybody throws 100 miles an hour now. 20 years ago, 100 miles was like just would blow people's mind. So is that you're telling me that it's just going to kind of keep going? Are we going to see someone throw 110 miles an hour now at some point, like 10, 20 years from now?
Yeah, I don't know about 110, but I mean, there's people out there that can throw pretty close to that. I don't think so in the major leagues, but there are. I've seen some videos out there of people hitting pretty high speeds. But yeah, the game is getting faster, and it's pretty incredible to watch, especially when you're at the dugout level and you can see these guys really run, and you're up
Yeah.
close to the action. It's a really fast game. And then you look back at the minor league level and major league level, there's big separation between the athleticism and the ability of these athletes. But yeah, you know, yeah, it'll be interesting to see in the next 10, 20 years what these guys are throwing and running. And yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah. No, many of our listeners, I mean, obviously they're not all professional athletes, but they're super excited and super keen about the importance of strength training and being physically fit. What kind of advice would you be able to offer them? I guess drawing on your experience of training the professional athlete, what kind of advice would you give kind of the everyday Joe?
Yeah, so there's so much information out there. There's so many great exercises. There's so many great programs. Um, but I think a lot of people tend to abandon ship too early. They won't stick with a certain program for a long period of time and see it through and be consistent and have that discipline. So I think that's one thing that you see the general population. That's kind of where they get frustrated um, most of the time, and they quit. Um, but you have to find something that you enjoy doing. Some physical activities you enjoy doing, whether it's in a weight room or playing a sport, um, and be consistent with that. And over the course of time, with discipline, you will see improvements physically. So that's one thing that's probably the most important, is having that consistency, that discipline to see whatever program you're doing um, through to the end. Stick with basic movements, um, basic quality movements, focusing on form and technique. And also, don't be afraid to add some extra weight or resistance to whatever exercise you're doing, but drop the amount of repetitions that you're doing. That'll be also good to strengthen your tendons, ligament, and bone, as well as your muscle, and improve body fat too doing that. But yeah, get outside, be active, play multiple sports, do resistance training, add plyometrics, some low level plyometrics for overall general health fitness.
Yeah, and would you say, does the approach change as we age? Obviously you're dealing with the elite of the elite, but guys like Brad and I, not getting to the gym as much as we used to, getting a little bit up there in age. How does that change the approach a little bit?
Yeah. So, you feel much different at 22 than you do at,
Mhm.
42 or 52. Yeah, absolutely. And your training is going to change over time as you age. But it's very important to include resistance training as you age. You can still do explosive type training, but add in med balls. So maybe you can jump or sprint, but you can use a med ball. You can throw the med ball against a wall, and that will help with some explosive training, keep you quick in case you fall or trip and you need to save yourself, put your hand out or put your foot out. So that explosive med ball work will help that. Also, you can get in the pool and you can do some low intensity jumps in a pool, and that will take the stress off your low back, your knees, your ankles, hips. So in the pool, the water is a good force of resistance that you can use. You can do rotational movements in there without the added impact on your joints. So your training will change as you get older, but you have to find ways to be creative to push those strength levels and push those power levels as you age. Also include flexibility, mobility daily would help with any aches and pains, low back pain, especially if you're driving, commuting to and from work. It's important to include flexibility either in the morning or in the evenings.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
So key, so key. Now, baseball, it's such a mental game. I know you're just responsible for the strength and conditioning side. How do you break down, I guess, the importance of the mental aspect versus the physical aspect?
Yeah, so I mean the mental part of the game, I mean it goes hand in hand, the physical and the mental, but I think it all starts in mind. Having a strong mindset, staying focused, trying to cut out all the noise, so to speak. But our mental performance team, they do a great job working with all of our players in the organization. Um, but yeah, the mindset is very important, maybe if not more important. Because it all starts in the mind, the preparation, the discipline, um, but to be able to quiet the noise, taking a deep breath. You watch some of these players before they go out to perform or before they step into the batter's box to hit. you'll see them take a deep breath, and that's kind of resetting their mindset, resetting them. It's reminding them where they are. And you always hear the term, be where your feet are. But that's a good strategy to do, is to take that deep breath and reset yourself, and then go ahead and perform.
And then how does nutrition weave into this too? Because I think of nutrition, obviously it's a huge part of, the physical aspect. If you don't get enough carbohydrates, it's difficult to train, and you need your protein for recovering, yada, yada. But I mean, I think it also impacts your mental piece as well. Is that something you're really involved in? The nutrition aspect of things, as you're working with, bespoke plans and whatnot, or do you have a specialized nutritionist on the payroll that would look after that?
Yeah, so we do have a nutrition team. We have a whole nutrition department. We have that work with all of our players in the organization. They do an incredible job, and we work hand in hand. So we share the same space. We exchange information on each of our players. But yeah, we have a whole team of nutrition staff that really dives into the nitty gritty nutrition aspects of keeping these guys hydrated, keeping them fueled during the game, post game, in the recovery aspects. So it's important to have that blend, that communication between strength and conditioning, nutrition, and our mental performance team to really get the best out of our players.
So gone are the days of Wade Boggs like taking a 6-pack on every plane ride.
That still happens, probably not a lot now, but yeah, it's good to have a variety of different foods and beverages.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of touched upon it briefly about the prevention and the recovery. How much of your job right now with training these athletes is more focused on the recovery aspect? I know you're constantly hearing about injuries and severity injuries, and I'm sure there's a ton that are happening behind the scenes that the everyday fan is not aware of. How much of the season, I guess, is spent during doing rehab, getting back into peak shape, and how much of it is spent kind of growing themselves to be faster, higher, stronger?
Yeah, great question. Especially in season. I mean, these guys are playing so many games. What people don't realize is before the game too, they're coming into the weight room, they're training, they're meeting with our mental performance team, our nutrition, athletic training, our biomechanists. So there's a lot going on prior to the game. And then, the TV comes on and you just see the game. But, they're taking batting practice, ground balls, they're running. So there's a lot that goes on. Baseball's unlike any other sport. So recovery is very important. The main goal for us in season is to push strength and power levels, but also be mindful of recovery and fatigue. And, we got to remember that, these guys play a sport for a living. So, if you took a poll or roster, most of them are going to be sore. Most of them are going to be banged up. So it's about managing, that fatigue and that recovery. Some of the ways that we do that collectively with all of our departments is low-level conditioning, stretching, mobility, massage work. So we have a massage team on staff also that work with soft tissue. Our athletic training, acupuncture. We have an acupuncturist that will perform those modalities. Sauna, steam room, the contrast tubs, hot and cold tubs. So we utilize that. Chiropractor on staff. And this is at the major league level. So these guys are performing at the highest level. We have a whole team full of recovery experts, so to speak. But the biggest things to really focus on before reaching for supplementation, any of these soft tissue modalities, would be sleep, obviously the most important. And there's ways to track that with different technology that we use, which is the Whoop band or the Aura ring. Players will be able to see their sleep score, their readiness score, and then we can dictate training based upon those scores. So it could be, hey, today's a good day to push it,
Crazy.
or hey, let's back off. Let's give yourself another day or two, and then wait for that good spike in recovery with the HRV and the resting heart rate, and then we can go and really push them that day and get the most out of them. Nutrition, another one to really focus on. Quality nutrition, a variety of different foods of all different colors, and then also hydration. Hydration would be another big one. Staying hydrated throughout the day, especially when we play in the summer months, hot, humid.
Mm.
Keeping them hydrated during the game is a big thing. So we're pushing the hydration. During the game, they come off the field, pushing Gatorade, pushing water. We have different snacks available in the game to keep these guys fueled so they can play at their peak performance.
I have so many questions that I want to ask you as a follow-up, and I have to just figure out which one's best for an audience as opposed to just my own interest. But I'm gonna ask you about kind of a sensitive one, I guess. Baseball players get a bit of a bad rap for. Like, why is it, in your opinion, that Nolan Ryan can throw 14 innings back in the day? Regularly, guys could throw 300 innings. Cal Ripken has a streak that'll never, ever be broken. And today, there's regular healthy scratch days, rest days. There's, starting pitchers seldom go beyond 6 innings. It will not go beyond 5 days or within 5 days. What's sort of your opinion with all these advancements that basically we're getting a little bit less utilization instead of more?
Yeah, I think a lot depends on the organization and kind of how they want to use their players over the course of the season. Each organization is different, but we got to remember too, like these guys are, especially the pitchers, they're throwing extremely hard today. And you only have so many bullets in the cannon, so to speak.
Mm.
So we have to keep that in mind. And you kind of want to be able to use your players as much as you can throughout the whole year and have them fresh. But I mean, they are throwing extremely hard. They're performing at a high level. There's a lot asked of them. They're playing every single day, so you have to manage these, the workload, so to speak. And also, these players are being compensated a lot more, so it costs the organization a lot of money when they're not playing. So it's best for the organization to have them on the field competing, and helping the team win, and managing the workload is part of that.
Yeah. No, you're working with, I mean, some of the greatest athletes in the world. And they're making a ton of money, so I'm sure there's a lot of ego as well that you're seeing. How do you motivate these athletes to kind of to do what you want them to do, and to instead of doing what they want to do?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we work with you know the elite, the best of the best athletes from all over the world, like you said. One of the biggest things is to develop a relationship with each and every player, develop trust with these players, find out what motivates them, what drives them, and then it's only when you develop that trust and that relationship will they start to do the things necessary to improve performance. Now, a lot of them do have their own personal plans, programs that that they've been using for a long period of time that seem to work, which is great. On the major league team, I like to split the players in three different groups. You have your up and down guys, your first year rookies. Those are the guys you're like, okay, here's our program. You know, let's work together. Let's move through these movements. You have your group two guys, the middle. Those are your everyday players. Those are the guys that are kind of injury prone. This is where you spend most of your time. The everyday position players, injury prone guys. You always have to adapt and adjust their workload, their programming to keep them strong, keep them explosive, and keep them on the field, which is the main thing. And then you have your group three player, and that is your veteran players. 10 plus years in the major leagues, older individuals on your team. So you kind of work with them. You're there if you need them, guide them in the right direction. Use those older players as examples to the younger players on how they go about their routine, their professionalism. So it's a unique experience when you have a team of 30 elite players and trying to dictate each one's workload, where they are physically. Um, but it comes down to developing that relationship and building trust.
It's awesome. Wise
Yeah, very
words,
cool.
very wise words.
What about those like just elite younger players? Do you have any advice that you would offer some of the younger players as they're trying to, break into the major, just achieve their dreams?
Yeah, I mean, stay focused is the biggest thing. Um, there's going to be a lot of noise, but always remember to keep the main thing the main thing. Um, and show up each and every day, put in the work, be consistent in your routine. If you're consistent in your routine, you put yourself in the best possible position physically at the end of the season to help the team win. And that could be, your program could be coming from something that you enjoy doing, something that you work with your coaches on. But stay focused, keep the main thing, stick with your routine, um, and perform purposeful hard work. Um, and that's it.
Yeah. No, the MLB schedule, I mean, it's a grueling, grueling long schedule. I know that you have a few young kids at home. You personally, how do you deal with work-life balance?
Yeah, during the season it's tough right now. So yeah, my wife's at home with the three. Um, it's tough. Thank goodness for FaceTime.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but when I'm home, I try to maximize the time with my family. Put my phone down. I don't take any calls while I'm at home. No Zoom sessions while I'm at home. Um, but yeah, I try to be present, be with them, play with them. We try to do a variety of different activities. We have, we're into bike riding, um, playing multiple sports. We're doing art lessons, music lessons. So we're trying to do a variety of different things. But the most important is to be present, at home, to be a good husband and a good father.
That's awesome. Yeah. And they're based out of Tampa?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're in Tampa, year round, which is nice. We're always able to get outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine the off season is intense then. You want to maximize that time with them because it's also pretty short before you're back into spring training.
Right. Yeah. We have about 3 months
Yeah.
and then we're right back at it.
I want to ask you, are there any other any resources on your journey that have helped you? Any mentors? Where do you go for, to keep, growing your knowledge base and, so that you can apply it to, being the best coach you can be?
Yeah. I'm constantly learning. There's so many resources out there. There's so many mini courses now, which is great. Years ago, we didn't really have that. You just had like books, and you had to go to conferences. But the NSCA, the National Strength Conditioning Association, is amazing resource. They have so many different mini courses going on. They do host in-person conferences, hands-on conferences. So that's an amazing organization. But yeah, there's so many great coaches out there too that have free courses out there, free ebooks, or they even have paid versions. Networking, connecting with other coaches in other areas of sport. Um, so I try to reach out to different coaches in the NBA, NHL, NFL, and pick their brains, get some information on how they do things, as well as other coaches in baseball. There's many great coaches in the baseball field, and then I like to look outside of our strength and conditioning realm. I like to connect with other professionals outside of the fitness field and kind of pick their brain on leadership and how they go about managing employees and that type of stuff.
That's awesome. No, people use, I guess, strength training and working out as a good outlet for stress reduction. You're involved in that every day. What do you do outside of strength training and working out for your own personal stress reduction?
Yeah, besides sleeping, yeah, I try to maximize sleep on the road when I can. With the little ones, they're up early as it is, and they're ready to go. They're jumping around. But yeah, I mean, spending time with the family and just doing things outside the fitness field. I mean, our family is very active as it is, so bike riding and hiking and being outdoors and sharing those experiences. Um, which I guess in reality it is exercising, so to speak. But yeah, we try to do different events and do different go see different plays and do things like that to really change up the routine, so to speak, and get outside that physical fitness realm.
Very, very
I
cool.
know we only have you for a couple more minutes here. I want to go back to our conversation about uh, just training for regular people. We talked a little bit about resistance training, which I also think is really important as we age, and I don't think that people realize that as much for both men and women. Just getting in and lifting, just picking up heavy things. We as we get older, obviously testosterone levels go down, and it's just something that's really important to do. I want you to give me your top 3 exercises if you could only do 3 for the rest of your life. Maybe we could, Brad and I can use that as a building block. Just give us your 3 favorite. Just love it to hear it from the absolute pro.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different exercises, right? And there's no one right or wrong exercise. There's no one right or wrong program. But as long as you can rationalize what you do and ultimately if it works, then that's what's most important. But if I had to pick 3, it would be a squat variation, some type of pull, either a pull up or a row. And then I think sprinting is really
Mm,
important, especially in the youth levels. But when you get a little bit older, something to train your cardiovascular system, either walking, running, sprinting. But we also have to keep in mind too, the exercises are one thing, but you can continue to do the same exercises you're doing currently in your regular workout routine right now, but change up the tempo. So slow the exercises down. That's called eccentric training. So for example, if you're doing a dumbbell or a bench press, you would slowly move the weight down for 5 to 7 seconds and then push up. So you would do it with lighter weight, obviously, and slow that weight down. And it gives your body just enough change to maybe bust through a plateau or spice up your training a little bit, make it more fun and fresh for you. Another thing you can do with your workouts is to include isometrics, where it's a slight pause in the workout. So we'll take that bench press to use that same example again. You would just lower that weight down and you would hold it for 3 seconds at the bottom and then push up. So that's including isometrics, or you can move weight fast. So lighter weight and just move the weight fast, maybe for a time. See how many repetitions you can get in 5 seconds or 10 seconds. And that should give your body enough change. And that would be great for the general population out there that's really just trying to stay fit, trying to stay healthy, really not training for a sport.
okay, I love it.
Yeah,
Eccentric. I'm going today. You sold
yeah,
me. Good. I'm
you
Yep.
motivated me. Yeah, it
Yep.
starts
Switching it
starts
up.
now. Yeah, it starts now. Joey, I think we got to finish you off with our signature question here. Uh, what's the best tip that you've ever received? I guess better yet, what have you stolen from the best?
Yeah, great question. I've received quite a bit of information along my way to really uh, hone in on my craft. Um, but one of the ones that really sticks out is, I think I mentioned it before, keep the main thing the main thing. And with there's so much noise going on right now, and to really stay focused on what you're doing, whether you're in athletics or whether you're an executive managing department, to really stay focused, keep the main thing the main thing, um, and really be present, be where your feet are. But that seemed to really, really help. Sometimes you tend to get sidetracked, but come right to the present, keep the main thing the main thing.
Fantastic. Well, Joy, I really look forward to continuing to follow you and getting lots of tips along the way. This has been an absolute blast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally, totally appreciate it. And I mean, the success of your organization, I can see why they're so successful because they get to work with the athletes get to work with people like you. It's amazing, and just the Rays organization has just been a consistent success over the years, and now like we understand why when we see behind the scenes.
It's pretty incredible.
it's been a lot of fun. Amazing people from scouting, player development. Uh, you know, it's been an amazing experience. Fun to watch. Really, the analytical department. You know, it's the best in baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, thank you so much, Joey. We truly appreciate your time, and I know our listeners are really going to appreciate the valuable info that you've been able to provide today. Thank you so much.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good luck in the playoffs, Joey.
Appreciate it.